She turned her head and saw a nose. It was that lovely, soft, wonderful nose she knew so well. Liza loved that nose. The nose was white and fuzzy, and was nuzzling gently, ever so gently, and it was leaning forward to touch Liza's cheek as if to say, "Hello, my friend." The breathing was audible and very comforting. The whiskers gently brushed against Liza, and Liza looked into the most beautiful soft brown eyes she had ever seen. Liza was 12 years old. She was strong and smart. She had long flowing hair, which was often blown about madly by the wind. Sometimes her hair was tousled under a cowboy hat, and sometimes she just pinned it up quickly in a barrette or with an elastic tie. She walked with a long, confident stride. She had purpose in her manner. She moved with the sleekness of a mountain lion and had the strength of one, too. She was a happy young lady, a preteen, but a young lady nonetheless. The incredible creature that was nuzzling her was a strong 10-year-old quarter horse named Libby. Libby was a beautiful sorrel with white markings on her face, just like a paint horse. She was 14 3 high, and her body was all muscle. She was a mare like no other. She was never mean. She was sometimes bossy to the other horses, but only when they asked for it. With her excellent quarter-horse bloodlines, she was physically strong and confident, just like Liza. Liza and Libby, they were a wonderful team, and they were quite the partnership, and they had a strong bond of love that was everlasting. It was a quiet morning in Arizona. Liza and her family were there for the winter time. They had set up camp near a mountainous area, and Liza was out taking care of the horses. She had on a light jacket due to the cool, brisk morning air. She walked toward the corral with purpose, because Liza had daily morning chores. She wore well-used and sensible cowboy boots. Her jeans were comfortable, with some cowgirl decorations on them made of crystals. Liza called those decorations bling. Every cowgirl wore bling of some kind or another. Liza was also wearing a warm, long-sleeved shirt under a comfortable jacket that had many pockets. She always had her cowboy hat on to keep off the sun and to offer some protection from the elements. Mostly, it kept the sun off her nose, and it kept her warm on mornings like this. She never minded a cool morning. The days were warm, but nights and mornings had a slight chill. Liza's family traveled in a big 4-horse trailer with a long living quarters area. That meant the family had a living area inside like a proper RV, recreational vehicle, at the front of the trailer, and all the horses all traveled in their own stalls at the back of the trailer. All of the saddles and bridles and other equine supplies were in a separate tack area at the back as well. The living quarters had beds, a couch, a large kitchen, and a spacious bathroom with a big shower. Their trailer was fully functional like any RV with electricity, propane, and running water. It was just like a traveling home on wheels. Even though it was roomy and comfortable, they packed wisely, with just enough of everything, but not too much of any one thing. Liza was always amazed at how practical her family was. The family packed clothing for different seasons and packed just enough tack and supplies for all the horses. Though practical, there were hidden surprises stored in the trailer as well, such as the Easter basket her mother had prepared for her last year. Somewhere, tucked away in storage, her mother even had a little Christmas tree packed with some tiny, pretty flashing lights. Liza had her own bunk bed in the back of the living quarters area. She had books there piled in a corner of her bunk. Thanks to her own little reading light, she spent a lot of time reading when she had spare time. A stuffed horse was her bedtime companion. Liza knew she was getting older, but never gave it a moment's notice that she still had a favorite stuffed horse along with her on the road. "Why, of course I have one," she sometimes thought. "Who wouldn't have one?" she would say. In her little bunk area, Liza also had some pretty horsey lights hanging around her window. She could turn them on any time she wanted. The horses were all different colors, and they glowed and gave off a nice warm feeling at night. Sometimes she would lie there looking out the window, framed by her horsey lights, as she thought about her day. Just behind the wall where she slept were the stalls for the horses. While the family drove, all the horses were there in the stalls. They stood and munched on hay and drank their own water while traveling.